Welcome to Space on the Shelf. This is the Shelf Sagas, episode 1. It's where we take a look and post some figures about that I've not had the chance to review, but I've picked up, loose, traded, or been to a Toyfair or something like that. First up, we got Dr. Spectrum, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know about this guy. I only bought him because I wanted Hyperion for the Cabal. For his accessories, you get those psi effects. I actually think these are pretty good, and I'm going to whack them on Jubilee. I think they'll accentuate sort of her characteristics. He also comes with a couple of expressive hands, which I'll utilise for posing and then throw them into accessory bin. He has got that crystal, which I didn't realise till later because I dropped it on floor. In regards to sculpt and paint apps, nothing much to report on with this guy in regards to sculpts because he's one of the standard size books. I do like his head though. I was looking at his head and I was thinking a custom muse here would be fantastic, so I might use his head later down the line. The majority of this guy is definitely put together with different coloured plastics. And you can tell when it comes to his shoulders and his body, when you get close enough, those paints don't match perfectly, but it doesn't really matter. So what stood out? The thing that stood out for me for this guy is he's an older buck, and apart from not having the butterfly shoulders, I could get him in a lot of different poses, and that's because his leg articulation is mint. Do you know what I mean? So it's, you know, an old buck. Why do all the figures not have this? So I was quite surprised by this figure, and I might keep him in. Next up we got Hyperion. Watching the Avengers assemble on Disney made me want this guy. It just brought him into the ether and I'm like, what, he's part of the Cabal? Let's go look for him. And he was at the Toyfair. So the accessories he comes with, a couple of gripping hands, which are alright, not amazing. For a guy that flies, I would like to see some different hands, to be honest, like just for the neutral poses, do you know what I mean? In regards to sculpted paint apps, this guy definitely looks like his source material, though another head without the red eyes would be nice. The sculpt is pretty decent, but it does restrict some of the articulation, especially around the body. I think it's good that they've allowed the movement within the cape so that we can get his arms going up and down in that sort of range. It just makes him look a bit more dynamic when we're putting him in them flying poses. And looking closely at the head, it's a slightly different colour than the neck and the arm colour. It's no biggie, but it's worth pointing out. So what stood out for me for this figure? The articulation is super limited. Do you know what I mean? Why doesn't he have some of the engineering that Dr. Spectrum has? And he's an older figure. I mean, again, for me, it's no biggie. This figure is purely a representation of, you know, somebody from the Cabal. I will keep him. I'll put him on the Space on the Shelf. It's all good. Johnny Storm, let's go. So obviously know about Johnny Storm, so we'll jump straight into him. I wanted this representation of the Fantastic Four just because of the, you know, the colouring. I like the lighter blue. In regards to accessories, he gets the hands that are moulded with the flames. I really like. He gets the flame effect that we've seen before and that neck flame effect, which is pretty good addition. I like all of these accessories, to be honest, because it gives us that Johnny Storm, I'm about to turn into some fire. When we're looking at the sculpt and the paint app, it's a defo upgrade than the previous version, but still we've got them pins. Again, I like this blue for the Fantastic Four, to be fair. QC looks on point for me, and like other figs that have white hands but not really a white body, these guys obviously they've painted on the forearms and they've painted on near the boots. A little bit different colour wise when you do very close inspection. You can't see from afar though. What stood out for me? The thing that stood out for me with this figure is I could put all the shield hands on him, so you know, we can give him options. He can have a gun if you want him to have a gun, he can salute, he can point. Next up is his sis, Sue Storm. Again, we know about her, so accessories, she's got that shield that sort of accentuates her power and some expressive hands. Looking at the sculpt and the paint apps, as with Johnny, like this look. I'm not sure about the head sculpt though. She always looks like she's in pain. That was one thing that stood out. The shield's definitely a nice addition, and you can use the other, you know, the translucent version. Both effects fit, and you know, you can have her having two shields at once, which is quite nice. So what stood out for me, unfortunately, the dated articulation took a little of the play factor out of this for me. Though I did manage to get some nice picks. And I did enjoy swapping some heads. I'm probably going to go with the Warbird head. It don't make sense, but it looks good. Then we got Mr. Fantastic. Accessories for this guy are quite limited. We've just got the extra arms, the stretchy fingers, that he looks like salad fingers. I don't know if people get that reference, but yeah, it looks a bit like salad fingers. We've had it before in the other Fantastic Four. Would have liked some extra test tubes or something like that, just to emphasise this guy when he's in lab mode. In regards to sculpted paint apps, I love the blue. Just said it twice before. his legs do look a little bit out of proportion for me. They look a bit skinny. I don't know if, am I seeing things? Do people agree? But he does look decent enough in the photos, and I could get him into that mini power pose, which is something that I can't do with all my figures, and all superheroes should be able to do that. So what stood out about this figure? I like the fact we've got, you know, two completely different looks. It's definitely a bonus thing with this dude. But if I'm honest, I'm probably going to chill with his lab coat. I like the lab coat version, and he'll find his way to a space on my shelf. Then we've got Power Princess. Yo, I have been chasing this one down all over the show. She sold out at a game, and I was like, no, I should have picked her up for 25 quid. And then she just rocketed in price. Luckily, found a guy selling her for 30 squids, ended up getting her, and I absolutely love this figure. I don't know why, I just do. Sword and shield for accessories. These are great to emphasize that power set. She gets an extra pair of hands, which is nice for them alternative poses. In regards to sculpt and paint apps, like I say, I just love this figure. I don't know why, but in hand, when I've got her in hand, she just looks great, and I can pose her around as I would want to. It's also nice to get a proper strong new sculpted woman. Do you know what I mean? We got She-Hulk, who's a bit of a bigger size than her, and she's just a little bit smaller, I think. So it's definitely interesting to see where they'll reuse this sculpt again. So what stood out? Her sculpt was definitely one of the things that stood out here for me. The armor, the costume just looks sickness and chips. Last but not least, and probably last on the list, Spiderwoman. I got this girl for a 10 spot. She didn't come with any of the accessories, just as is, 2 hands and a body. Do you know what I mean? No webs, no nothing. In regards to her sculpt and paint apps, she's definitely a solid representation of the source material. I do like her head sculpt and the deco throughout, to be fair, but it would have been nice to get the web wings and any sort of other accessories that do go with this figure. I'm hoping when they get round to re-releasing this one, I'll definitely pick it up, you know, with that design and all the updated articulation and whatnot. So for the last one, what stood out? Although the articulation was pretty garbage, I was pretty surprised at the results of the photos afterwards, and I did enjoy posing around, and that's all that matters, right? So that was my toy haul from the BP Fairs at the NEC. It's definitely one of the best in the UK. It's great to meet up with a bunch of the Who crew, and we did some shopping for some figs, talked about toys. Overall, some nice surprises within this selection, and some figures that'll definitely fill them spaces on the shelf.